Hi, and welcome to this special presentation, specifically welcoming all the Bancor and BNT fans out there. I'm Howard Krieger, CEO of unFederalReserve, and today we'd like to present a short overview of the proposal which we've made to the Bancor community to integrate one of our products into the already robust Bancor product set in an effort to help increase trade volume on the Bancor site, to encourage brand stickiness by offering savings and borrowing more time and more time-related types of transactions as opposed to just spot transactions, and hopefully begin a new era for both teams working together to grow share in the decentralized space. For those of you who don't know us, we are, as unFederalReserve, huge advocates of self-custody, of decentralized finance. And we also recognize that as we're all in the early innings here, certain products and platforms provide great service, great interfaces and stable, secure software, but there's still a dearth of tools that are all combined and in one place and easy to access. Through this proposal, our expectation is with the addition of our product set to the Bancor family, the utility provided to the BNT users, to the BNT community, to all these products and projects will just improve and be great. So thank you again for your time. The way I figured on doing this was I'll pull up our actual proposal. I'm not going to read it verbatim, just kind of go through some of the hit points and then show some visuals to help encourage your decision making and hopefully go and participate and vote for our proposal. We are a DeFi Web3 company. We have a live retail pool-to-peer platform that's been up since May of 21. We've had about 700 million in flows, savings, deposits, you name it, and loans through the platform over that time period. About 31,000 plus transactions, and happy to say without incident. We've also had our platform audited by Trail of Bits, the United States' leading contract and core auditing entity. Just ask around. We also pick up the security audits and other audits performed on the Compound platform, since we are a fork of Compound. So we are secure, we have existing users, and where we observed the need is for these other permissionless specialized tools. Gosh, if you could add savings and deposits and lending in the branding of Bancor, then wouldn't that just make for even better Bancor customer experience, that they can save the money they're not using that day, they can short using our pool-to-peer over collateralized rails, and then they could swap using Bancor. And so the integration of trading, supplying, borrowing, shorting, frankly, it's a no-brainer. And our expectation, and we'll get into some of the financials later, is that we could see Bancor trading volume go up by 20, 30%, really by as much leverage as you think people are willing to take on, even in these market conditions, to go ahead and play together. So very excited for you to be taking the time today. Let's get right into it. I am available at Howard Krieger on LinkedIn, Howard at unFederalReserve, I'm Crypto Krieger U on Twitter and Telegram. If you have any questions on this proposal, or you just want to talk in general, I try to respond to every inquiry I get. But if you have a question on this proposal that we didn't cover here, it's not in the write-up, it's not in the discussion, let me address it directly. Our goal is to get participation in the vote, and hopefully for the positive, but I need you to do that. I can't force that on my own. You have to want this product to be part of the family, and it's my job to make the compelling case as to why. So the TLDR is really our company, Residual Token, doing business as unFederal Reserve. We will build and launch Bancor P2P, a permissionless pool-to-peer savings, lending, and borrowing tool that will integrate into the existing ecosystem, meaning traders could use this to lever, to short, etc. We are not going to charge Bancor, the DAO, the community, you name it, anything for the build. I'm going to pay for it out of the company's coffers. And the only development expense that Bancor would incur would be, adding links to the main page, to the product, and then helping us obviously with like co-marketing and advertising. So more of time than actual dollar expense. In return, we will pay Bancor from the reserves of the platform a licensing fee to use their branding. So it really is a win-win. You get a licensing fee, you get increased volume, and all we're asking for is permission to use the livery and also some links and some advertising. So what is, if I could skip through here, the summary, again, we are an over-collateralized, easy for me to say, pool-to-peer lending protocol that brings in savers and borrowers. And why does it matter, right? I guess one of the big things first off is, what is leverage and why does it matter? Well, leverage is the act of, putting up something you own as collateral against a loan you then take to then go do something with. In the crypto space right now, 90% plus of all crypto borrowing is used to buy more crypto. In more traditional financial circles, sometimes borrowing can be done to make a big purchase or to consolidate debt, etc. But in crypto, the use case for borrowing and lending is really a function of, hey, I have something, I have diamond hands, I don't want to get rid of it, but it doesn't have any utility while I wait for it to moon. So let me use it as collateral somewhere and then borrow Ethereum or stables and then swap into another position, or you can even short once what you borrow. If you borrow Ethereum and then you sell it, well, the loan is still dominated in Ethereum. So if Ethereum price drops, you can in essence buy back your Ethereum at the lower market price and pay off the same loan, having cost less money. So with respect to leverage, and I had to do like a snippet here, this information comes from Crypto Quant. You can see the watermark here. What I circled here was this purple line represents the estimated leverage ratio. Now, Crypto Quant doesn't have all the data, but it does look at a number of exchanges to see how much of what exists in the market was purchased through leveraging. And you'll see here almost 30%. So essentially the almost 0.3 of, for every dollar of Ethereum, 30 cents of that has been borrowed from somewhere. And that ratio continues to increase at a modest rate, but certainly noticeable. Probably this number starts to drop, this ratio, as the price of Ethereum goes up. So you have obviously the natural activity, but remember, these are ratios based off of dollars. And so you get like a little, as prices move. But in essence, it's probably safe to say between, 10 and 20% of the market cap is going to be purchased from leveraged, by leveraging, putting something up and borrowing. So the argument is there that traders want access to leverage. So what are they doing today? Well, they're probably coming to Bancor, and then, they're here, they're going to connect their wallet, and the wallet that they've connected, they've likely already have gone to a Compound or an Aave or a Maker, and have levered themselves into the token that they intend to trade here on the Bancor site or intend to put into some of these pools themselves. But besides trading and putting the money into the pools, once the Bancor user has done this, they're out, they're gone. If they've done a trade, they've left. If they're in a pool, then they're going to let it marinate. But think of how much more utility would come if a Bancor liveried version of this pool-to-peer marketplace existed, where Bancor users could, again, using the same wallet that they're using on the Bancor site, supply these stables, earn this APY, and then if they're really interested, they can also borrow and go back to Bancor and start leveraging. Now, today, any user can flip back and forth and do the same thing that I'm showing you on the screen. But by having everything under the Bancor umbrella, Bancor gets to hold itself out as being this platform that offers yet another great product. And again, it's a product that they're really not going to be paying for because we're doing the build and they're actually getting paid. So Bancor and you as a Bancor community member are getting paid for the collaboration with us. So how much money are we, well, let's go back to this for a second, then we'll talk about how much money. How much money will be the alpha, right? So looking at the summary, talks about the reserves, talks about what's required. So at a user level, Bancor P2P will empower MetaMask, WalletConnect, and Coinbase wallet users to earn APY without relinquishing custody of their cryptocurrency to a third party, which we love, right? No centralized lending here. It allows borrowers to borrow a select set of cryptocurrencies at reasonable APYs. And what that then gives you as a BNT user is you can leverage up, you can short sell, and you can increase your own purchasing power. Like some people will supply USDC and then borrow USDC and then go spend with that. Now, what they're paying is they pay the delta. If I go back here, they're paying the difference between the 15% borrow rate and the 10% savings rate to get that extra purchasing power. But if they think that what they're going to buy is going to go up 5, 10, 20x, you don't really care about this spread here. You just like the idea of increasing your purchasing power as opposed to swapping entirely out of your stables. So all very good. And then in the proposal, you can actually go to the markets page yourself. We share a picture. This will be in Bancor livery, obviously. There are other pages. We have a liquidation page so that if you like to liquidate over collateralized borrowers when their loans go into technical default, you'll be able to do that through your Bancor livery experience also. We also have a robust library of how-to videos and information on the code, as well as how it's used, etc. And we have a robust community ourselves in the Residual Token or unFederalReserve community if you have questions about DeFi and things that you can do. So the vote, here's the long-winded for, right? Like you vote for us, everybody wins, yay. Against, we don't need to say much there. The proposal also talks about our existence, how we came to be, how our front ends are built around these global liquidity cores. And that's the idea here, is that these permissionless applications need greater access to, they want their users to get access to liquidity without sending their users to a competitor. This is a way to do that. It talks about an allocation of rewards, what we do with the licensing fees, specifically, and this is more for the ERSDL holders, the e-residual holders, the community of unFederalReserve, from the licensing fee or from the fee the platform generates from these borrowers, we as a company buy our token out of the market. Right now, we burn a portion of them, so it's a deflationary model on our own token. But in essence, we use our token to managing the licensing of our software. Here are some benefits of hosting a core front end. Obviously, Bancor gets rewards associated with the borrowing on the platform that comes from the Bancor community. It also means you don't have to build it. Bancor doesn't have to invest the money to build something similar. We've invested a few $1 million in getting the product to market, and we've seen success because of it. Bancor kind of skips ahead at that point if they choose to integrate with this product, really just on a livery basis. So even the Bancor core technology, there's not a risk or exposure there. Very few attack vectors because both products are stable, they're isolated, they're just going to look alike, and you're going to be able to reach each other, through the interface. But that's really the mindset. We also talk about our global liquidity core diagram, or the service, providing liquidity pools as a service to different licensees, and how that all works. And then the forecast. Okay, so I'm going to actually go to the actual spreadsheet here. I highlighted here a section that applies just to Bancor as opposed to the other entities that we're in discussions with. So here, TVL is total value locked, right? So if we assume that from the Bancor community, starting a few months out, that there are 5 million in borrows. What does that mean, right? Well, right now, if daily volume on the Bancor platform is maybe a couple of million, we envision just a fraction of that, maybe 10, 15, 20% of Bancor users will use Bancor P2P initially for savings and for leveraging. We think as time passes, more and more of the Bancor users will rely on Bancor P2P as its essentially as its kind of holding station to earn APY while they're not out deploying capital in the market. So not just having it in their wallet, they're actually earning interest by having it on Bancor P2P. But that's going to start out small and then grow over time, and we'll see the as the markets straighten themselves out and as more Bancor users use stuff and more Bancor P2P users work together, we should see the whole ecosystem increase. So if we assume a ratio of about 60% of what is on the platform is actually borrows, the platform will kick off revenue of around 3% annually on the total amount borrowed. So when it talks about the amount of reserves collected, you can see here I've taken the interest rate of 3% and taken it down to 1 month. So if the platform earns 3% over what it has to pay suppliers, et cetera, but if at a top line there's a 3% scrape of the reserves collected, we obviously got to turn that into a monthly number. That's how we get this figure here. All these numbers are in thousands, by the way. And our expectation is then, hey, listen, we're going to give 10% of that to Bancor. So we paid for the build, and we're going to pay Bancor 10% of what comes in through their front end. That's the goal and the intention here. In essence, we just kind of build up that model for Bancor, and we'll see here, this is what Bancor stands to gain, right? 1,000, 2,000, not big numbers to begin with, because again, and I'm sorry for shooting around here, but we're talking about a basis points on total dollars borrowed, very similar to if you think about broker fees in the real, like, traditional financial market, they run about 15 basis points. So if we assume we're collecting 3% revenue as a platform off of the borrows, and we're going to pay 10% of that to Bancor, that's about 30 basis points. So Bancor, for really doing nothing more than having the links and doing some shared advertisements, are earning like double the typical broker or introductory fee. If we can get the total, the TVL up into the hundreds, $500 million, chipping away and getting towards that $1 billion borrowed mark by about 3 years out, then you could see here, like, you start getting $1 million revenue. And again, this is pure income to Bancor. Maybe some expense associated with it you're still talking about a margin of like 90% or something. So hey, $1 million, maybe $1.5 million for every billion being borrowed from Bancor users, totally doable, right? Really just a function of markets. This spreadsheet is available for viewing through our Telegram channel. So if you want to see the numbers and stuff and look at the whole business model, it's there. There isn't a version you can play with, but I think the math is pretty intuitive. So therein lies the forecast. It's, subject to all sorts of risks and stuff, so do your own research. But we expect that no matter how much gets borrowed, that borrowing is going to be used to then go and swap on Bancor and do something. So if we see 30% of supplied, tokens being borrowed, we're going to see that amount of increase in volume. And we think this is really, really achievable, but only time will tell. The interest rate pricing model is very detailed, but in essence, a interest rate for the borrowers is calculated that looks at the utilization of each pool. We've tweaked and tested this in order for the rates to be competitive with the existing pool-to-peer products out there. These rates can be, they're variable and are subject to change, but any major change goes through a robust change control process where there's, there's voting, there's obviously assessments performed, and nothing would change these factors on a willy-nilly basis. And we feel like they're pretty, we feel they're stable for now. So I would expect collateral factor or the interest rate terms to move, in the next year. So the pricing oracle. So we need a pricing oracle. Why? Because obviously when you're supplying assets, the system needs to know how much to allow you to borrow. So they use USD values for the varying tokens off of Chainlink to determine how much can be borrowed against what's supplied. Again, Chainlink has, we can't speak for the risks of using that Oracle R, but it's better than really the alternatives. And we're proud to support Chainlink and the Link Marine community. The proposal also has the interest rate model baked in, and there's a Medium article on interest rate models where I think I talk about all the different facts and features. So there is it talks about the governance process for coming up with the rates. We talk more about the security audits, the wallet addresses, so you could actually go and see how our global liquidity core has done over time. Verify some of the information I've given you about rates and volume, but it's all right here, and as well as copies to the actual audits that were done itself. You can click and go view them. We are FinCEN registered, so we are registered as a general entity. We don't require an MSB or MTL, because this is all self-custodial. We provide the software. None of the, we never have possession or are affecting the transfer of stuff from one party to another. Our depositors are doing the deposits and the withdrawals. Our borrowers are reaching over and doing the borrowing. Our software facilitates it, but we're not actually performing any sort of transfer. And there's plenty of write-ups and legal memos and all sorts of fun stuff that have been written about Compound to describe why we're in that case. That being said, for those that know me, I walk around carrying a copy of the Constitution. So we are U.S. regulatory compliant, and we register with FinCEN so that if there is abnormal activity, we have a body that we can report to, even on an anonymous basis, of some unusual activity, and then let the authorities sort of take it from there. But for the most part, we believe that folks are going to play by the rules, that we're not going to have to exercise that lever. We haven't had to file a FinCEN report to date in the year and a half that we've been registered as a general entity. I don't know. I would not expect it unless circumstances were so obvious that we had to. But we are focused on regulatory compliance. There's no recourse for bad borrowers. So there are cases where someone uses a highly volatile collateral. Now, our collateral is limited to just these tokens, right? We don't even allow for the supplying of our token anymore or borrowing against it. But these other tokens, if their price was to drop precipitously against a borrowed position, there are instances where liquidation bots do not pick those up. It is rare, but it exists. And We have calibrated and tweaked our models to try to prevent that from happening as much as possible. But, I got to inform you so you can make your best decision. There is no recourse against a bad borrower, aside from maybe dropping an NFT into the offender's wallet with a notice that you're going to go to the authorities, the tax authorities. But this is just a problem or a challenge that the industry is facing, and that's being worked on. So you could have bad borrowers that supply, they borrow and walk, or they borrow, their supply token drops, and now they have a loan that's not over collateralized. Again, as long as we avoid the tier 1, tier 2 coins, then we should be in good shape. So I really appreciate the time that you all have afforded me today. Hopefully it wasn't too long-winded. We covered a lot of ground. Go and vote in the Bancor community through your channels. I appreciate you giving us eyeballs and paying attention to everything we have to offer here. And again, don't be afraid to reach out. Howard on LinkedIn, Howard on Federal Reserve. If you have questions, please answer them, or please ask them, and I'll do my best to answer them. And we really see this as a win-win for both the Bancor community with now this new added tool set, and of course, the unFed community with this global liquidity pool being attached to such a renowned, robust, and storied services provider like Bancor. Thanks again. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week, whatever time zone you're in. Good evening, good morning. Thank you again. Have a wonderful day.